Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Welcome to Two Moons and a Microphone, a SyFy Sistas Inc. podcast. It is my ElfQuest fangirl podcast. My name is Tanya. I love fantasy, but I keep it real. So today we're going to talk about my adventures at Cradle Con, which was held in Garden City, New York, at the Cradle of Aviation Museum. It's very cool for all of you flight and space enthusiasts. It's a comic, collectibles, and toy pop culture convention. It's a nice size, so it's very digestible. And the ElfQuest folks did a great thing for this convention, and they gave out free admission tickets to about 10 fans. And I think about 7 or 8 actually were able to come. So we had a great showing of ElfQuest folks out at the convention. So I took some photos. I didn't take as many photos as I wanted to because I was so hyped up on caffeine from staying at my friend's in Manhattan, and it took all my energy just to like settle down and not act like a complete crazy person at the convention. But I did get some great shots of some fun things at the convention that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if anybody's been to a convention before. What do you guys think? Have you guys been to any conventions recently? I know we were at the SyFy Sisters. We were at Trek Long Island 2 weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. So this first slide is the entrance to Cradle Con. So you can see our space guy up there, and there were loads of vendors with lots of back issues of comics. Oh, I see Tamara's there. Tamara was at the convention with me. Hello, Elf Sister. So that was a lot of fun. And so at the first day of the convention, day one, there was a lot of stuff going on. So they had a panel honoring Wendy Peeney as a pioneer in cosplay and comics. Here's a shot they did. They gave them a load of space to display 4 of Wendy's costumes that she's made for the Labyrinth Ball in California. That Wendy is a huge costumer and cosplayer. And you can see a shot of Wendy as Red Sonja back in the 70s. During the panel, Wendy talked about how she made the Red Sonja costume out of hundreds of little metal discs, and that Richard drilled little holes in them for her to fasten over like this leather bikini. And she said the reason why she won is because her costume clanked, which I thought was hilarious. It was so funny. So I could just like picture this, gorgeous woman walking in with this costume that was, had sound as well as the visual. So super cool. So here's a wide shot of the exhibit and Wendy. Yes, Tamara, Richard is the best. He is like so supportive, and he says that he's a facilitator for all of these creative endeavors, and we just love them both. They're so fun. So in the next slide, I think, so during the panel, they surprised Wendy with these models from an organization called Cosmoda, and they're sort of a mashup between runway and cosplay. And the director, her name is Catherine Schuler, and she is this former model, and she puts on a lot of inclusive fashion shows, and she does a lot of upcycled jewelry using comics. And she knows all of the old comic heads from Marvel and DC. And she said that during New York Comic Con, I believe, she's planning on doing a fashion show with costumes that are inspired by ElfQuest. So this was like a little sneak preview, and Wendy was so excited to see these models come out, and it was just so much fun. Yeah, so I think it's like a cross between New York Comic Con and Fashion Week, I believe. I'm going to double check on that. So, yeah, that was very exciting. That was an exciting announcement. Everybody was very surprised by that. It was really a neat thing to see. And the costumes were really, really amazing. Like, so much detail. You can see that there's Winnowill there, and Cutter, and Lita, and Wendy's there with the costumes that she had made and brought to the convention for the exhibit. Okay, so the next slide. This are the 4 costumes that they brought. I've heard about Wendy's workshop that she has in her house where she works on these costumes, and she finds things like when we talked about during our cosplay exhibit episode, like she'll take pieces that she finds from thrift stores and found jewelry, and she mixes them together and crafts them all by hand. So the first one is called the Black Fairy, and the second one is Lady Red Death. And then we have the Princess of Atlantis. And then there's Turandot from Puccini's opera. And they're so intricate. It was just the most beautiful thing to see them in person, because I've seen photos, but I was dying to go out to this convention and see these costumes in person. Hello, Heather. Hello. Heather was also at the convention with us. So exciting. I'm so glad you guys came in. I'm thrilled to have the support of all the elf family here tonight. I don't know if anyone wants to share in the chat one of their like highlights from the convention. Yeah, Dave, they were so amazing, and just all of the work that went into making these costumes was just, I was just blown away. So it was just such a fun convention. It had a lot of like 80s memorabilia, and I think there was like a Revenge of the Nerds reunion there. I didn't catch that because I was so focused on all the ElfQuest stuff. So after the panel, I walked around a little bit, and I was able to meet Keith Williams, who was an inker and artist with Marvel. Oh, here's our elf family. So I actually did wear my costume out in public at a convention, like I said I was going to do. So I ticked that off my list. I actually did it. And Wendy came and gave us all a big hug and called us our elf children. So there's Tamara, and her husband Isaac is Redlance. Tamara is Nightfall, and they are a couple in ElfQuest. And Heather did a mashup of Sailor Moon and the character Moonshade, which was so cute. And we also have Catherine, who did Sava, and you know Sava is one of my like favorite characters, and Catherine made the entire headpiece and the whole costume. And you know my costume is sort of Sava inspired, but Catherine did like the full-on thing. So I was talking to Wendy about that, about how I feel like I want to get it exactly right. I want it to be super luxe, and I love the feeling of like real clothes and things. So Wendy told me that instead of a cosplayer, that I'm more of a costumer. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's great. I'll wear that mantle, and I will continue to find clothes that inspire me and remind me of characters that I love. and just go with that. So that was fun. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, everybody looks so great. So here's Keith Williams. He's artist. He's worked at Marvel for over 40 years. He's done inks. He's also worked at DC. And I got him to sign my Cloak and Dagger. Has anyone read Cloak and Dagger? He was really excited to see it. So he says his favorite was Spider-Man, but he was so nice to talk to. And I just can't imagine, all of the stories that he must have from like working with all the greats for so many years. So that was fun. And also, I also met Larry Hama from Marvel from G.I. Joe. This year is the 60th anniversary of G.I. Joe. So Larry signed 2 of my G.I. Joe comics, which was very nice. I was pretty excited about that. I got to like meet all my high school comic heroes, and so it was a great opportunity. I was really happy to be able to go out there and go to this convention, and it was really cool to have all these other fans there supporting Wendy and Richard and ElfQuest at this smaller convention. So it just felt like a lot of like family fun. Everybody got really close. Isaac made these bracelets for everybody, which was fun. And it was great. They had like a little meetup afterward. I was staying in the city, so I wasn't able to stay for that part of it. Yeah. Oh, really? Yes, I did see that. The Cloak and Dagger in X-Men 97. I was jazzed about that. I love that at the end of the finale, the end of the season. It was so cool. Great throwback. So yeah, it was really neat. I don't know if anyone who was there has anything to say about there was like a reception after the first day. I don't know if anyone's in the chat that wants to talk about that. So that was the first day. It was a lot of fun. Everyone was really nice. Wendy and Richard had a table also, and they had posters. So if you're interested in seeing them at a convention, they usually have a table and they have posters, and Wendy and Richard will sign them. They will also sign any of the books that you might bring. They have a list of schedule of fees on their website if you check that out on elfquest.com. Yeah, Heather, there was like an invitation only reception afterward on the first day, and I wasn't able to stay for that, but I know a lot of you guys went. Oh, that's cool. So what kind of questions did you guys like? Was there any like cool tidbits that you want to share? I'll give you a minute for that. So on the second day, there was a viewing of the Wendy Peeney's Masque of the Red Death, which is a musical comic. And it's like an animatic. So it's got like slow animation. And the background for it is in 2008, Wendy was taking a break from ElfQuest, and she loves Edgar Allan Poe. So she did an updated version of Masque of the Red Death. I have a copy of the original comic was put up on the web. It was like a web series, and it was animated with Flash, and it was episodic. And then they put it together and made a book, but they only had volume 1 because the company that was publishing it went out of business before volume 2 could be produced. So it's a really cool story. It's set in the future. People have a lot of like nanotechnology enhancements to keep themselves looking young and beautiful. And there's lots of gossip. And there's this tragic romance between two characters, Prince Anton and Stefan. And it's just a beautiful, visually stunning comic. And now you can watch it on, I'm going to have the link in the description. It's called masquemusical.com. And so on the second day of the convention, they had a viewing of it on the huge screen, the IMAX screen there at the Cradle of Aviation. And it was on Amazon Prime, but I checked before we went live and it's not on Amazon anymore, but it is on the Masque website. So you can watch it there. And it's legit. Like the music is so catchy. Like you hear it and it's, you know, you really want to have this staged on Broadway. And it's just like really catchy songs. Wendy worked with Gregory Neighbors, who has been the musical director for a ton of shows on Broadway. And they worked together to produce this really legit musical. And I hope that I hope they are able to stage it on Broadway because it's just great. I mean, it is, I have a child that is very into musical theater, and I've had to watch a lot of musicals, and they've made musical versions of just about everything that you could possibly imagine. So I think that this one deserves some shine. I think that they should definitely try to get it staged. So definitely check out the website and watch the Masque musical online. It's 2.5 hours. It's a really perfectly done staging of this like web comic. It's so cool. It's really cool. So yeah, Bunch is the best. I do love Bunch. Bunch was really is a cool character. I liked a lot of the duets. Like all of the duets were my favorite. I liked the two non-evil characters. They were my favorite. Yeah, Savarsi 9. I just liked the daughter and Dryel. I loved them. They were like my favorite. I felt bad I just thought the rest, they were just so messy. Stefan is messy. Anton is kind of cold. It just, what can I say? So that was really fun. We really enjoyed it. Heather made masks for everyone, red masks to hold up during the performance. Yeah, I did. I wanted to hit both of them too. Totally. It's terrible. They were just such messy people, but what can you do? It was really neat to see the whole thing right up on the big screen like that and hear the music. So unfortunately, the Facebook Live is not working, so I'm really sorry about that. But I'm glad you guys are here to share in the fun. Yeah, they were cool though. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was really nice that you did that. It was fun to have everybody bonded there. Yeah, I mean, Stefan, he's young, I think. He loves hard, but he's very jealous. It's that like immature kind of love, So, and it was just kind of focused on probably just the wrong person. They're just, I don't know, they're bonded, but the love was there. I think the interesting thing about the story, there is an update from the actual comic to the musical. Wendy sort of refined the story a little bit to, fit more into like a musical structure. And I liked the choices that were made there. I mean, I thought it was really very complete in a way. It was just a great way to kind of bring it all together and take it a little bit away from the Poe and just so dark and bloody. But the dark and bloody stuff is good too. So if you want to check it out on eBay, you can look for it and try to find that there. So that was it for day 2. It was kind of a slower day, but we all woke up out there. Here's a shot of the musical at the end. It was just so bright and colorful. The costumes and the drawings of all the costumes in the animation were just gorgeous. I would love to wear everything in there. There were all of these different masquerade balls as part of the story, and those costumes are just amazing. They're so phenomenal. I just love that. They're just so intricate, and one of the costumes that Wendy had brought, the Lady Red Death, was inspired by this story. So that is it for our little, recap. Here's a shot of their table with all their wonderful posters and the things that you can get there. Oh yeah, there were a lot of people kind of coming in to watch the movie with their kids because it was a very family friendly sort of convention. But Wendy was like very I mean, it's supposed to be intended for mature audiences, so it was interesting that she was so protective of the young kids that were coming in to, I guess she just didn't want to have like anybody sitting there and be like, "Oh my gosh," and like totally shocked, which I thought was really cool because you like to think that people are sort of I don't know, trying to like they'll figure it out on their own, but I loved that she took like that extra step to just be like, listen, this is really for the more mature people. So I thought that was really, maternal and nice. And I didn't think anything was like that racy. I still think it was, it was gory at some parts, but I thought it was still pretty tasteful. So, but I respect that. I respect that, if you make something that you intend it to be for a certain audience, to kind of stand behind that and, put that out there. Yeah, I mean, you never know how kids will react and what is going to scare them. I mean, I know certain things that scared me. I don't think my parents ever, I mean, they would just figure that I would go to sleep and they would go see movies and bring me along and not know that I was watching. And I just remember it was like Amityville Horror, and that was horrible. That gave me nightmares forever, like a good week. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Deadpool, that's a lot of language. It's a lot of, I mean, it can really kind of you know, you got to have a little talk with your kids before it goes into that. So, this is a really quick little episode. I just wanted to share some of my, experiences at Cradle Con. I really enjoyed meeting all of the other fans, the Elf family. We're like continuing to chat after the convention. And also, when other fans are going to think about going to any new conventions, there is a group on Facebook where you can kind of pregame and figure out like what you want to do, how you want, if you want to do meetups and, share information. And it's a good to have like people looking out for you. I think that's awesome that, we're such a supportive group of fans and, that everybody was just really, really kind, and I really enjoyed this convention. And I'm always a little nervous when I go out by myself, so all those like anxieties were kind of put at ease. So the Pennies are going to a convention this weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's called Heroes Con. And it's running June 14th through the 16th. So check that out if you want to see them. They're going to be at the Masque publishing table, which brings me to my other thing that I wanted to wrap up. Before I do wrap up, I did want to mention that we are looking for sponsors for this podcast, for these live shows. Sponsorships start at $10, and you can promote yourself and find out about all of the perks of being a sponsor at www.syfysisters.com/sponsors. And you can follow me on Instagram at 2 Moons and a Microphone. And I'm on Twitter, sort of, or the platform formerly known as Twitter, as New Money 737. That just works for me. I'm also on Threads at 2 Moons and a Microphone. So this weekend, the Pennies are going to be at Heroes Con at the Masque publishing table. And this is my little tie-in for my next episode, which is going to be June 26th. And I'm going to do my chosen 8 covers of ElfQuest covers. There's going to be a new book coming out from Masque Publishing. The Kickstarter is going on right now. It ends on June 20th. And they are compiling all 300 covers of all of the ElfQuest comics for the last 46 years. It's so exciting. So I love these books from Masque. Masque did 3 art books a few years ago for another Kickstarter. They are beautifully made. I'm bougie, so of course I got the deluxe edition. So this is a deluxe hardcover of The Art of ElfQuest. There were 3 books: The Art of ElfQuest, ElfQuest, The Art of the Story, and ElfQuest, Line of Beauty. They are still available for purchase from Masque Publishings. And so you get this like slip cover, and then you get the hardcover book. The deluxe hardcovers of the new Kickstarter are already out. They were a limited edition, but they're still beautiful hardcover versions. There's softcover versions. So there's a lot of different levels that you could support the Kickstarter if you want. And they're just beautiful. The pages are like high quality paper. You get to see just all these behind the scenes about what went in to constructing the covers. You get notes from Wendy and Richard. There's going to be fun little giveaways. So if you're interested in that, please check out the Kickstarter. You will not be disappointed. They'll look great on your coffee table or on your bookshelf. And 300 covers, it's amazing. I mean, the span, you can just like, yeah, totally. I love the book so much. I love it. So they smell good. I definitely love a good book. And they'll be signed and numbered. It's just a great way to add to your collection. So I'm going to do my favorite 8 covers, because everything in ElfQuest is based on 8. So I'm going to be going through my collection in the next 2 weeks and coming up with my favorite just for my collection. And I don't even have all 300 issues or covers, because some of them I got the collected novels. I didn't get all of the loose copy issue by issue. So I'm excited to get this book, to get some of the covers that I missed, like the Marvel reprints. Marvel reprinted all of the original 21 Warp graphic of original quests, and I have like a couple of them. And some of them are just really awesome, just like different framings or different scenes that you see later in the comic that they've made for the covers. So I'm just really excited about that. So June 26th, I'm going to count down my chosen 8. And if you're interested in the Kickstarter, that is going on until June 20th. So thank you for joining me tonight for my recap of Cradle Con. I hope you guys go out and find a con that you love. If you can check on the ElfQuest website if you want to see where Wendy and Richard are going to be next. I think it's Pennsylvania? I'm not sure. I can't remember. So, but definitely this weekend, Charlotte, North Carolina, Heroes Convention. Please like and subscribe to SyFy Sistas Inc. We are really getting close to 500 subscribers, and apparently really happy and exciting things are going to happen when we get to 500. So we hope you'll do that. Please consider being a sponsor of this podcast, 2 Moons and a Microphone, for our lives. We're going to be live on the next episode as well, and all of them going forward, I believe. So we're working on that. And thanks for coming, and shade and sweet water.